I'm so happy to have Nathan Sheridan join us in the December issue of Breakout. And here on a quick interview, Nathan, thanks for joining us today. Your music's very inspirational, and you're exactly the kind of artist that we're looking to feature.
Absolutely. I was super stoked when you guys reached out and wanted to have the interview, and it's always a blessing to get to do stuff like this.
Well, very good. Your song, A Different Kind of Christmas, and of course, our December issue is Christmas specific. Your song touches a nerve, of course, that many people feel, but maybe are uncomfortable um, articulating or talking about, and that is Christmas can be a time of grief and hard
Yeah.
emotions. And your song just, I think, expertly walks through that and is a wonderful testament to
Yeah.
helping people through that. Talk to us about that song and what inspired it.
Um, so the song originally, believe it or not, it's kind of a funny story. The song originally is written by Mark Schultz. So I don't
Oh,
know if
no
you know
kidding.
Mark
Sure
Schultz
do.
and
Yeah.
Cindy Morgan. So they wrote this song together, and it so about 2015 actually, this song released for the first time, and I believe, uh knowing Mark's story a little bit, it came after his father had passed away, and so he wrote this song in the wake of that. And I've never released a Christmas song ever. So this is my first Christmas song I've ever released. And I
Hmm.
remember talking to Marcus, my manager, who had just so happened to do a bunch of work with Mark. And he just randomly sent me this song. And he said, "Man, this would be such a great song for you to do." And I started listening to it. I was like, wow, it really just reminded me of my testimony. And it was kind of one of those, artists always have that moment, especially when it's a song they didn't originally write. It's like, man, I could have written that. I could have
Sure.
that could have been my song. And my sister Sarah passed away when she was 8 years old. I was only six, and so I
Wow.
remember I remember two or three Christmases we had together, and even being that young, and even one of the Christmases where she was sick, and so I remember her last
Hmm.
Christmas, and our last Christmas together, and I was like, man, this this is gonna I could be a great carrier of this song because it's not just lip service, it's actually
Right.
a real experience. And what's so incredible about the song already, it's only been out a few days. And I mean, there's so many people, and not to offend anybody, I think this song has sort of resonated a little bit with my older audience a little bit, because I think when you get up in age, you're losing people, and you're losing your mother, you're losing your father. And I've had so many people, my grandmother's age, saying, man, I miss my mom, I miss my dad, I miss my husband, I miss my
Hmm.
wife. And it's been an incredible thing just to see this song only being out a few days. It's really resonating with a lot of people. Even the owner of my record label, Tammy, reached out to me and was saying, she was so blessed by it because her father passed away last year. And um, just just an incredible thing to see how it's only been out a few days, really, and just seeing so many people resonating with it. But for me, it was so poignant because, man, I feel like as I've gotten older, uh, the more I the more I really have to grieve my sister being gone, and the
Hmm.
more I have to come to grips with it, because whenever that happened to me, I was just trying to get through it. I was just trying to, bulldoze sort of through all those emotions, through all that grief. And now I'm kind of at a stage where I can be like, you know what? I can actually grieve this now. I can actually take hold of those memories now. I can reminisce on that now. And this is a great year for it because so many people, I think we're in the Christmas spirit, but I think there's so many people who are hurting, and just, they need that song, even though it's sad, quote unquote. They need that in a way to make them feel more in the spirit. They need somebody to recognize that pain. So,
There's no doubt about it. And when you hear your song, it does. I mean, I just assumed that you wrote it, Nathan, because it feels the authenticity of that coming through. So Mark was right. You're the right artist to do this song.
well,
Very,
and,
very good.
and, and what's incredible about it is I feel so close to the song because not only Marcus, my manager, brought it to me and he worked with Mark, but we actually got the original producer, Chris Bevins, to reproduce the song, recut the orchestra, the whole deal. And I remember being in the session and he brings up the original Mark Schultz session,
Wow.
on his computer where I could see all the files and stuff. And that's always a cool moment seeing a song that back even in 2015 did so well, resonated with people. And Mark just has that way about him, though. He has that way he can carry those kind of songs so well. And Chris was giving me the whole lore behind it, and so it felt so natural. And man, we got it done in a day. In a day, the vocals and
No
everything.
kidding.
We were done, and Chris was just stoked to um, hear how it kind of came natural to me. I'm like, yeah, it comes natural because I feel like I wrote it in a way, which is so rare, especially now. I feel like so many artists are not they're not covering songs, they're writing songs. And I write basically all my music. So it's always weird when you have that song that you had no connection to writing, but you're in the studio now and it's time to cut it and you have to channel that. So
Well, great job. And of course, the song isn't all about despair. It talks about Emmanuel and God with us and
yeah.
really touches that grief, but brings redemption through it. So well done. Well done. And we're certainly going to be putting it into our Christmas rotation quite a bit here in December.
Yeah,
Talk to us
absolutely.
about your experience in Kuwait. What an interesting story and background for an artist.
Yeah, I joined the military when I was well, I joined when I was 17, because that was the year I graduated. I graduated a year early. And I really didn't have any plans. I didn't have any real feeling of purpose, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I was starting to play music and Christian music mainly, but it was never that thing that, oh yeah, I'm gonna be an artist and shoot for the stars and the whole deal. I never thought that about myself. And so I ended up, getting my grandmother to sign the papers and let me join, and basic training, AIT, did the whole thing, immediately came home and immediately got deployed, 3 months later, and I was
wow.
out. So I had 3 months at home, 3 or 4 months at home, I think it was. And then I had 3 months of training out in Fort Bliss, Texas, Camp McGregor, the whole deal, and deployed for 9. So I deployed for 9 months after that, and yeah, so I was just kind of thrown in there, so to speak. And I think there was maybe one person my age on base. I think being 18,
Wow.
I turned 19 when I was there, so I was 18 years old. And but the cool story about Kuwait for the audience listening is that was really where I cut my teeth learning how to lead worship, learning how to play my instrument really. And I mean that as a guitar player and a vocalist, learning my instrument. If you were to listen back to me then, I probably sounded completely different. And it was crazy, just how that was the place where I really learned how to be Nathan Sheridan, so to speak, and who I am as an artist, and getting to play live with a band. And man, but what was amazing about Kuwait is we just saw so many soldiers coming together to
Mm,
worship Jesus. And we were really just kind of we were just a space, besides it being, chapel, which is church,
sure.
but besides it just being that, there was a lot of soldiers who would just come to church who I knew were not believers, that would come just to escape from whatever it was that was going on in their life. And of course, that was our opportunity to share the gospel, and we did. And it was an amazing thing to see so many people who I knew didn't believe, so many soldiers who I knew didn't believe, coming to church to hear the worship, to get that escape. I mean, you had soldiers who were going through divorces, who were, not getting to, not really having things were falling apart back home, is what I'm saying. And
Sure.
they would come and looking for some kind of relief. And of course, that's where we would meet them at. And it was just we saw soldiers coming to Christ, while we were in Kuwait, and I ended up getting that was really the highlight. I
Mm.
asked God when I was there. I said, "Why am I here?" And turns out it was for that, and I ended up getting a a volunteer service medal while I was
No
in
kidding.
Kuwait. Yeah, you have to have so many most and most soldiers don't get that because they don't have their hours documented. So but unbeknownst to me, the chaplain who was a lieutenant colonel, sorry, he was tracking my hours that I was spending rehearsing and leading worship, and I had no idea he was doing that. And sure enough, they ended up presenting me with that medal for leading worship
How
overseas.
cool.
So yeah, it was a cool moment, and that's my big claim to fame of the military.
Well, to state the obvious, thanks for your service. And it's obvious that this really tied ministry into worship with you, and it's stayed in your heart. So that's really cool.
Absolutely,
Let's
absolutely.
talk a little bit more about Christmas, Nathan.
Yeah.
What music do you play on your playlist for Christmas? What's a song that you love?
Oh man, put me on the spot.
Yes,
So gosh. I love, man, I'll be honest with you. I love all the classics. I just love hearing all the old stuff. And I'll tell you, I figured, I talked to a radio guy and kind of figured out that consumers honestly kind of don't want to hear new Christmas music. It's like 10% want to hear new, and then the rest want to hear all the old stuff. And I was like, oh, well, that's why, probably why I'm sort of drawn to that. But man, Blue Christmas by Elvis.
oh, a classic,
Yeah,
a
I
true
mean,
classic.
just I'll have a blue, you know what I mean? It's just something about when that comes on, you're like, all right, I can be in the spirit now. And of course, you got to throw in some Mariah Carey, whatever. All I want for Christmas is you, and then the little piano that comes. You gotta have that at least once a season. But man, I think as far as I don't know if you'd call it an Advent hymn or not. I don't think this one would be, but uh, and it's kind of controversial, but I absolutely love "Mary Did You Know" by Mark Lowry. That is one of my absolute favorite Christmas songs. And of course, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding that song because
Of course.
everybody's Mary did know, of course she knew. But I just love that song, and it always never fails to make me tear up just a little, right?
Well, very good. Going to put you on the spot one more time.
Please do.
Tell our listeners and our readers a Christmas tradition that you and your family have.
Christmas tradition. Well, it's been weird because we live in Tennessee now and all our family is back in Louisiana, but I would say the biggest tradition is we always, always, always got to spend uh Christmas morning with my grandmother. We all we've shaken it up just a little bit. It seems we always fall at my grandma's house, and somehow everybody seems to make their way over in the entire
Yeah.
family. And she is really the glue holding everything together. So, and of course, having Christmas dinner over there, and I don't know, it's such a sweet time. Getting everyone together, and they just kind of know to come there. No one's really invited,
Yeah.
if that
That's
makes sense.
funny.
There's no plans like, oh yeah, well, we're doing Christmas at grandma. No, everybody just knows that that's kind of the meeting ground. And if she wasn't around, man, I'd be interested to see what do we do then.
Mm,
Um, so which is why I love this song so much, man. I think there's people that are probably struggling with that this year.
no doubt.
Grandma or grandpa or mom or dad isn't here. It's like, where do we meet? What do we do? That tradition's who is gonna carry the torch of that? So.
No doubt. Okay, Nathan, tell us what's in store for us in 2026 and what you have coming.
So we've definitely got an EP hopefully coming. Um, Albums are rare these days, but I'm blessed to be able to do an EP.
Nice.
Um, we've got some really really cool songs coming in the works, and I'm really proud to share a lot of them. We have, gosh, we just did an A&R meeting, and there's probably 40 or 50 songs that the world has not heard yet. and
Wow.
it's so tough to go through and pick like five of those, you know.
Hmm.
And some of them aren't so, some of them are not so great, and then some of them are just so good, and you have like 10 of those, you know, 10 or 15 of those, like, wow, these are all great. Can't we do every single one of them? And it's like, no, we got to buckle down and pick five, four or five of them and do those. So we definitely have an EP coming out of just some amazing music I've been writing over the past, gosh, 2, 3 years probably. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what some of these songs are going to do now that they're able to get some life to them. And everything's on social media now, so it's like you go through this phase of writing and teasing and figuring out what the audience
Oh yeah,
likes.
it's a new
You know,
world.
yeah, it's a completely new world of like figuring out, hey, what songs do I put out there? And I think we finally got it narrowed down. So
Well, make sure you keep us informed when those songs come
absolutely.
out. And, talk to Marcus at Rixon Entertainment and Mark Schultz that you need to get up to Canada. We want to see you in Canada. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'll need to get over there and maybe do a little devotional over it. Devotional with you guys, do some worship or something. That'd be fun. So
sounds
I don't know
good.
if you
It sounds good. Hey, listen, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for your time. And I really can't wait to hear and see some of those new songs you're talking about in 2026.
yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas to you guys. And again, thank you so much to everybody listening, watching, reading. And it's been a blessing.